don't want to lose your accent because that's you. That's who you are. It's like losing your history, your culture, your background, your family. It's like saying like, oh, this is less, so I want that because it's more important or it's better.
I love working with Reynaldo. He is just such a warm-spirited, artistic, talented person. And whenever I am able to coach him or work with him, I always leave feeling so energized and inspired. Reynaldo is an actor, he's a singer, and he also runs the international acting school, HAPA, or Hollywood Academy for Performing Arts. So I cannot wait to share with you our inspiring conversation. Hey, hold on. Before we get to the good stuff, would you just take a moment, like this video, and subscribe to the channel? It really helps us out. And then also, you won't miss any of the exciting weekly conversations I'll be posting. Thank you. Welcome to Unmuted, where we explore how our voice and accents are so much more than just words. I'm dialect coach Audrey LeCrone. Reynaldo, thank you so much for being here.
Salud.
And cheers. Salud.
For me, Audrey, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your beautiful words and all the wisdom and the hours of classes that we had together. Having tea with you with the Hollywood sign in the back after 10 years. When I met you, you were riding your bike, going from place to place, coaching professionals, and you changed my life. You changed my life. You really did. You helped me so much. Well, let's finish this. Cheers first.
Oh, yeah.
But and all my friends actually started coaching with you.
Well, no, not all your friends. This was because of you. So after we were done coaching together in New Orleans in person, you came back here to Los Angeles.
I told everyone.
You told everyone. I had so many Spanish-speaking actors from Los Angeles. It was like my whole business changed overnight.
Good.
You literally are the reason I am here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was very special about you, I think it's because you're an actress, a wonderful actress, by the way. So
retired now, I'm a
retired wonderful actress. But you have a sensitivity and you understand process. I feel that working with you wasn't just the accent or the dialect or the enunciation. It was more about finding the human behind the page.
Oh,
and connecting it to the story, and I fell in love immediately, and that's why I think everyone that has worked here in Los Angeles with you as well.
Well, when I first started working with you, I was like, everything clicked for me. I was like, why have I been not working with actors? Like, especially you. You are so open and vulnerable, and you just show the whole world your beautiful inside, and it's amazing. I was like, wait, what? These are my people. And I still coach business professionals and whatever, but like actors are my people. So first off, before we begin going into all these stories and fun things, this is a voice show. So we're gonna do a little vocal warm-up trick, but I want you to lead it. Okay. So what is something that you do when you know you have to speak or perform? What's something quick that just helps you get in your body or warm up your voice?
I really like the link ladder technique, which is connecting the sound, not just connecting to your sound, but also expressing with your voice emotion. So it's warming up the sound, yes, but also warming up that connection between your instrument and emotion.
And this is Kristen Linklater, for anyone who is unfamiliar. She's got a great book that I would recommend, Freeing the Natural Voice.
Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna close our eyes.
Please do it along with us.
Take a deep breath. Relax your head. Relax
shake it out.
Your body. I won't shake it out too much because I don't want to ruin sound, but just relax and feel from your feet the relaxation going up to your knees, going up to your thighs, and going to your belly and your chest and your shoulders. And your arms, your hands, and your neck. And right there, when you feel really relaxed, just touch sound, almost like if a drop of water was falling in a pond. And then I'm gonna start asking some questions of how you're feeling today or what's going on or whatever, and just respond, but think of those thoughts and words and be very specific and then express with just a ha, simple sound. It doesn't matter how it sounds. It's about what's behind the sound. So how are you today?
No, I'm kidding.
Anything you want to like express that's been happening in your life, use the sound and use this connection. Good. And now we're going to start like chewing. Chewing to the right. Move like if you had a gum and back in your teeth. And then on the other side, left.
I bet this is a really attractive sound. This is my least favorite sound when I'm dialect coaching on set, like when people are eating or something. I have to listen to their microphones.
And now start cleaning your teeth with your tongue. Get rid of that piece of gum. And then the lips. And then let's do your favorite one, stretching the lips.
This one I call chewing like you're a cartoon character.
Nice. Now stick your tongue out. And then pull it back. Or kick it out. And now stick it out a flat. And inside flat too. Which is something I couldn't do because I'm Spanish. You remember?
Yeah. And now you can't look at you.
I still need to put my finger in the back.
That's okay.
Good. Is that good enough?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
One of my favorite memories about coaching you is I was having a really bad day one time, and usually I lead the warm-up or whatever, and you were like, Audrey, hold up. And you led me through this beautiful meditative warm-up and just helped me breathe through some things. And it was transformational. It was so nice. It was so nice.
Thank you.
And you still paid me for the session. I was like, why did I not pay you for this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? All right, so I have a little icebreaker question for you. Now that we've warmed up and we've relaxed. What is the sexiest accent to you?
Wow. Sexiest accent. Oh God, that's hard because I think it's about the person, not about the sound. But I love cowboys, like the country accent.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a really sexy accent.
There's lots of different kinds
French.
of cowboys, but it's like that. I've been working in a field all day and I don't have time to enunciate. Kind of maybe out of one side.
Not going like that. You get right back. And I like Italian women. Their accent is nice because they scream and they're so like expressive. But yeah, no, I think it's about the person, to be honest, more than the accent.
Yeah. So usually whenever I ask someone what accent they find sexiest, I also ask why, because I think it's so interesting why we find something attractive.
Yeah.
So why do you find a cowboy accent attractive?
I think personally because I didn't use that part of my mouth. Because when you speak Spanish or French,
Reynaldo's from Bolivia, by the way.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Bolivia. In South America, and I lived in France. But you know, those sounds are very like upfront. Cuando hablas español, está aquí adelante el sonido. O si tu parles français aussi, you use this part like the front. And in America, most people use the back sounds. And I think that was my struggle. And you always want what you don't have. So that's a human thing. And I think that was my attraction to that sound because it's all the way back here. And like, they don't need, you hardly move your mouth, and you know.
Yeah. And
that's why we worked together for so many years.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, I need to.
And you're amazing because when you can work a script and you can get it fully in an American accent of whatever type you want, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Finally, yes.
Yeah. And then when you speak,
after hundreds of hours, by the way, of
hundreds
work.
Of hours.
Hundreds of hours.
Fun hours. Fun hours.
Fun
Most of
hours, some frustrating as well.
Yeah.
You know, whoever is doing this work, just be patient. It's a process. It takes time. It's like going to the gym. If you want a good body, you gotta work for a long time, and then eventually you see the results. I didn't know that, and I was so hard on myself, Audrey. I was so mad all the time, and I'm like, fuck, why can't I do this or that? And it's like a gym, It's like working out.
It's working your muscles differently.
Absolutely.
It's muscles and it's habits, emotional habits that are part of your identity. So, like if you're using a different part of your mouth, that might mess up your mind and your perception of yourself.
Yes.
But even more with you, I'm curious about learning an American accent, because what have you been told by casting directors and for your whole acting career?
Oh, wow. Well, I've definitely been bullied in this town, in this industry. I had agents that told me that I was never going to make it because I sounded this way or even looked that way or that way.
What do you mean by that? Because some people would just be listening.
Yeah, because I had agents that they were like, yeah, man, we gotta let you go because you're. But this is 10 years ago. The industry has changed completely now. But back then, Hollywood was based on stereotypes. Mm-hmm. If you were Latino, you were supposed to be brown. You were supposed to have a Latino accent, which wasn't really a Latino accent. It was an American accent with some Latino flair.
And specifically like Mexican.
I'm Mexican. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you did something different, it was kind of weird and they didn't know where to place you. And also, as an actor, I remember I did a commercial in Studio City. No, where was it? Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Big commercial, one of my first ones. And I was obviously doing the Latino cast, and the studio itself and the producers, they had the main cast inside one of those studios. Outside the studio were the extras, and the Latino cast was like all the way down the road.
No.
Yeah, and you can see the difference between the food and the way they were treating us, and then the producers came and they were like, all right guys, it's your turn. You're not gonna create, you're not gonna make anything different. You're gonna go on set and you're gonna watch the American cast do their work. You're gonna copy, and you're out. That's it. Simple. No more nor less. Because I think some actors were trying to add their own thing. Cut to today, 2024. They're looking for Latino bilingual actors. It's changed completely, the industry.
Do you feel satisfied with the changes, or do you think it has to go further?
I think it's already changed, and it's already past that because of the platforms like Netflix and Amazon. All these platforms are buying content from Spain, from Colombia, like Narcos and Elite, big shows that they were fully shot in Spanish. They have nothing to do with Hollywood, and they're probably like the biggest shows. House of Cards. No, what's the other one? Casa de Papel. I forgot.
House of Paper. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a huge show in Netflix as well. But yeah, so the industry has changed. Now, they're looking for different accents and different looks, sexualities, and it's all about like the uniqueness of like casting. If the character is a transsexual, they want a transsexual actor. If the character is, or breaking also stereotypes, a role that was written for a white actor could be played by a mulatto or vice versa. So even the Latino market is changing in that way too.
Really?
Yes, because there's a huge Caucasian community in Latin America. Huge albino community, even Asian Latin Americans, and they didn't have a place before. But now you're seeing those shows and you're like, wait, she looks Irish, but wait, she's from Argentina, So yeah, it's nice. It's definitely changed, and there's no way back for sure. Yeah.
So I'm really happy to hear that you are happy with where things are and that you feel optimistic, because a lot of people don't feel that way yet.
Okay.
I think there's more growth to be had, right?
Yeah.
I think there are more stereotypes that can be pushed. I think we can be more inclusive of all sorts of different communities and have more representation on screen. And I'm seeing a lot of representation of different skin colors and backgrounds, but not of sound quite yet. There's more, but I want to push that more. Because there's so many Americans that are newer immigrants that speak with different accents. There's so many Americans who are not new immigrants that speak with different accents. There's so many Americans who are actually Native Americans who speak with different accents. And we're not seeing as much of that as I would like.
Yes, yes.
Or not seeing, but hearing.
That's true. I absolutely, yeah. There are classes here that if you, even if you are a Native American or like a native born, you know, here in the States, they claim that they have to have the neutral accent.
Right.
So if you're from Alabama or Texas, you kind of have to take that class at some point. I agree. We're on that way. Yeah, but it's oh my God, it's changed so much, Audrey.
Oh, it has.
Yes.
It has, because I remember when we started working together and all of the Spanish speakers, like it was so limited, and everyone was like, listen, Audrey, I must have an American accent, otherwise I will never get an agent. I've been bullied by every casting director I've ever had a workshop with. I've been told so many times that I did not get this role because of my accent.
Yeah.
And
I got in trouble because of you.
uh-oh, why? What'd I do?
Because we were taking so many classes when I was shooting that movie with Sandra Bullock, Our Brightest Crisis, and we were doing so great that the director at one point he's like, "Hey, you sound way too American, man. What's going on?"
Whoops.
I'm like, "Oh,
Oops.
are you seriously? Are you gonna yell at me because of that?" And I'm like, "Thank you, God," but yeah.
That's why
I never told you that actually.
That's funny. You didn't ever tell me that.
No,
that's why now
Green.
my approach is that we want to keep your accent,
Yes.
but we're adding an American accent. So when we started working together a decade ago, what we do was called accent reduction a lot of times.
Yes.
Now we've erased that term because I'm not trying to reduce anything about you. You are a beautiful, impeccable human. Yeah. Why would I reduce anything? You're already trilingual, you know, like who cares? So we're adding
Ewan
things.
McGregor actually changed my mind forever, and I'm so grateful because we were shooting Beginners and he had an accent coach. And I'm like, oh my God, like a huge movie star still dealing with this? And we were having lunch or something, and I went to him and I'm like, hey, what would you recommend me to lose my accent? And he looked in my eyes and like I remember he grabbed my shoulders and he's like, Reynaldo, you don't want to lose your accent because that's you. That's who you are. It's like losing your history, your culture, your background, your family. It's like saying like, oh, this is less, so I want that because it's more important or it's better. And the moment that he said, it's not about losing, but adding, for me was a click that I'm like, oh, that's, I mean, it sounds really basic, but it made a huge difference to the way I approach the work. And I think that's why I stick with you for so long, because most actors get super frustrated with the process and then they just quit.
Right, and with this mindset, we can make it fun.
Yes.
Rather than like, this is what you have to have in order to work or you'll never work again. Instead of that, it's like, hey, this is a cool thing that you can do. You could do it as a party trick. You could do it for a role. You know, you can pretend to be American, and here's how. So what has your relationship with your voice been like over the years? Has it changed at all? Because you're also a singer.
Completely. Oh, by the way, something that helped a lot to complement the work that we do, the phonetic alphabet. I highly recommend everyone, if you don't want to memorize it like we did in my master's, at least have a sense, because it really helps to your brain to...
Some people's brains, not everyone's brain.
That's true.
Yeah.
But for me, that's since we're talking about my process, it was huge. I even asked you many times. I was like, Audrey, I can't get this word or this sound. Can you please put it in phonetic alphabet? And you were like, and I was like, oh, that sound. So that helped a lot. And also singing.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, the phonetic alphabet is basically symbols of sounds.
The sounds.
And they're mapped out in your mouth of like where they are, where your tongue is. It's pretty cool. And then singing as well. Yeah.
Yes. Singing made a huge difference because singing trains your ear and it helps you explore different phonetic resonators. And my voice has changed too. I think I'm finally like using the back of the tongue, and I sound a lot more American, guys, which was the goal.
Well, kind of. No, we want you to keep all your Bolivianness.
Yes.
But
and now it's so fun because I was just working on a Latino accent from Argentina for a project, and I was remembering. I was like, oh, I used to do that sound naturally. Now I don't do it anymore because I've been so long here in the States. It's a nice process, yeah.
So when you're doing a role, and you need it to have a different accent, whether in Spanish or in English, what does that look like for you? How do you make the character embodied and believable when you're speaking a different way than you normally do?
First, I focus on the thoughts between the lines to really understand what's happening in the story, because we're never. Good writing never tells you exactly what's happening. There's always a layer of thoughts, which is the subtext. So I first find that part because that's going to help me understand more about what's happening and who's the person and all that. Then I go more technical, which is finding sounds or words or parts that I'm not really getting. I use the phonetic alphabet for that. I call Audrey. That's and then videos of actual people from the place. From the one thing that actually I work with you, and I don't know if you taught me that or I picked it up somewhere else, is that I never work the accent with my actual lines, with my actual text. Because you don't want to lock the performance. You don't want the performance to sound robotic. You don't want to, have a scene and instead of getting lost in the mind of the character, you get trapped into how I should make this sound. And I've been there so many times. So for me, what really helped me to not get there or not fall into that little hole is to work the accent with completely different text. I even find videos on YouTube of, people from whatever place I'm doing the work, and I just use that, whatever they're saying, and I write it down and I hear it. And
so you make a different script from their transcript.
Yes, yeah. And then I improvise with that. I'm like a crazy man walking around my apartment or house, saying lines and playing and talking to my dog and. Even when I go to the supermarket or places, if I'm really committed to this part, I play with that. I go out and I'm like, let me interact with some real humans and see if it's working.
But that makes sense because it makes it familiar to you.
Yes.
And it makes the character part of you.
Absolutely. And when I go back to the text, another trick is that I don't just say exactly the lines the way they're written. I practice with the subtext. I say the thoughts out loud in that particular sound, and that helps a lot to break that ice. So whenever I have to actually say the lines, they feel fresh. And I can play with them. I'm not trapped into they should sound that way.
I didn't know that. I've never seen you do that.
No?
No, because with me, we're just working mostly with the actual text.
That's when you...
So yeah.
That's a part of the process that I work with.
What I love with you is seeing the bridge between when we work on everything and then your audition tape or the role or whatever. Because that's when the magic is like, it just explodes, and then you become this character.
I just love acting so much.
Yeah. So what do you do to teach your acting students how to have embodied accents and voices?
I think it's, first I really tapped into their passion, and I make sure, I remind them how fun it is, and that they need to just pay attention, just be present. Because I got to work with some, especially here in Los Angeles, I'm working with a lot of like influencers and some celebrities as well, and they lose the presence. So if you want to,
in what way? Because they're working on,
because they're thinking of like what's happening at 1, and then at 3, and then at 4, and then tomorrow I have the shoot, and then I have the lines and this, and then their performance is just not there. So the first basic step is to be present. Because if you're present in this reality, you're present in an imaginary world. And sometimes, honestly, like, I don't know if I should, I'm not gonna name but one very famous reality actress, well, she's not an actress, she wants to be an actress, but she has a reality show, and she couldn't even like, visualize or like really look into a tree and get lost in the details of the leaves. So our classes were hikes.
Wow.
And we would go around and be like, okay, we're gonna have a hike. What do you see? And then she's like, oh, I see this tree. Okay, what else? Leaves. What else? That's it. No. And then we would start getting into details, and
that's so inventive. That's so smart.
Yeah, it really helped a lot. And watching people, because if you go and you sit down in a coffee shop and you hear this person talking, and you see the way they walk, and this one has, uses this part of their body to like lead, or this one is limping, or that one has this like part of their body like twisted most of the time, or they're not using certain part of their backs. Then you start absorbing characters in a very like fun and organic way. So those are like the first 2 things that I do, and then obviously we hop into every single technique. But speech comes always at the end. I always like make them find the presence of the character, the humanity of the character, and then the rest of the other elements come easier, I feel.
Yeah.
If we just begin with the speech, you don't know who that person is, you don't really know. Yeah. And that's kind of like the order that I figured out that was best.
Yeah, it's amazing because so much of the hard work of acting comes from daydreaming. You have to set out time to daydream. Like, who is my character? Yes. What are their circumstances? Who did they grow up around? What music do they listen to? What do they like to wear? What do they do in their off time? What's their relationship with their mom and their dad? What's like everything? You're reimagining a whole entire human with a life that they've lived.
Yeah.
It's so magical.
That's the material that you're gonna be using between the lines.
Yeah.
Because if I'm looking through this window and I know that, this happened with my family, or that I used to live in this small town, if I have a history, then I can use those thoughts while I'm looking through the window. Yeah. And that's when that performance really grounds.
And you know how that history affects you in your body, like what your rhythm is. If I'm anxious and that makes me lethargic, or if I'm anxious and that makes me like very, very uppity. I don't know a word for that. Yeah, but percussive rather. That makes all the difference. Yeah. And that, I think, is what makes you such a brilliant actor. Is you're able to do that, and you're able to teach it as well. And you just tap into your emotions so easily. It's amazing.
Link ladder. They help me a lot. Relaxing the jaw. Because the same way we have a digestive system, a respiratory system, we have an emotional system that is connected directly to the jaw. That's why when you cry or you scream, or kids, when they're watching a movie, they drop their jaws to the point that they even drool. When you're making love, or when you're angry, you clench your jaw.
Yeah.
So there are some amazing exercises for you guys out there to relax the jaw. Because the more relaxation that you have in the jaw, the more open you are with all these exercises that you're going to find. It really makes you vulnerable. And be careful to those that are already vulnerable. because they can. While I was training, I got to a point that I remember in class, one of the teachers came and she's like, "Oh, there was this shooting in this high school and da 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 da," and I was so open and so vulnerable with all the link letter work that I instantly like saw everything and I was transported and it was affecting me so hard. So so in the acting program, they were teaching me to like actually learn how to shut down. And clench your jaw. Whenever you feel that you're going there and you're transporting there, you clench your jaw. It's gonna kind of block emotion.
That's so important for so many actors because you have to learn how to get there, but how to come back.
Come back.
You gotta come back.
Yes.
You gotta come back.
Yes.
It can be dangerous work.
It's dangerous work. Yeah. You're playing with your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to play with other people's minds and in order to let them have cathartic experiences and live life vicariously through you.
Yeah.
You are the vessel. It's amazing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Such a holy art. Reynaldo,
Audrey.
thank you so much for being here.
No, it's my pleasure. I love you, and I'm
I
so
love you
grateful
too.
for everything.
Come in, bring it.
And I'm so proud of everything you've done and all the people you've helped. And I'm sure amazing things are coming, even more.
For both of us.
Thank you.
And for the whole world. Thank you for tuning in to Unmuted. If you haven't already, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe. See you next time.